Well, now from the 12 News I-Team, our investigation into a Mesa police sergeant continues as we learn more about his disciplinary history.
Body camera footage shows Sergeant Drew Young making inappropriate comments about his female colleagues. Bianca Buono joins us live. And Bianca, this isn't the first time that he's been in trouble.
Yeah, that's right, Mark. He has a long history of internal affairs investigations and has even been recommended for termination 3 times. But instead, he was promoted. Mesa Police Sergeant Drew Young suspended for 80 hours without pay and given a 1-year probation for talking about his female police colleagues like this.
Her mouth made me want to slap no. I didn't know that she plays for the other team. She actually looks kind of girly.
Mesa Police declining 12 News repeated interview requests, writing in an email that Young had 3 years of positive reviews in his file, but not acknowledging Young's lengthy history of internal affairs investigations, including recent years.
I would blame the organization before I would blame the officer.
The I-Team, learning this conversation caught on camera, was far from Young's first time in trouble. In fact, it's at least his 21st, dating back to 2008, 3 years after he was hired. Records obtained by 12 News show Young was criminally investigated for submitting fraudulent overtime requests. Prosecution was declined, but he was investigated internally, where police staff also accused Young of failing to complete a rape report, failing to complete an armed robbery report, among a number of other violations. This is the first time Young is recommended for termination. Instead, he was suspended for 2 days. And the internal affairs investigations kept coming. In 2014, Young's most severe penalty of his career, after he had a picture of a suicide victim on his personal phone, which investigators found he showed to colleagues and family members. He was suspended for 240 hours and given a 1-year probation, despite a commander recommending termination again. From 2015 to 2016, investigation after investigation. Then Chief John Mesa writing he was calling into question whether Officer Young has the necessary skills and intellectual maturity to perform as a Mesa police officer. For a 3rd time, termination was recommended, which again didn't happen. Instead, Young was put on probation for a year.
I don't know who this person's fairy godmother is, but I think there has to be one. Or you have a department that condones this.
In 2019, Young was given verbal counseling for leaving an inappropriate comment on a new officer's Facebook post. Months later, in January of 2020, Officer Young was promoted to sergeant.
He'd been recommended for termination 3 times prior to his promotion, which is the part that I think is so abnormal.
Just 6 months after that promotion,
Have you seen her Facebook pictures? I mean, I want to turn it down.
he's recorded making comments like these.
I've heard she's one of the few females that looks better in uniform than she does out of uniform.
Experts shifting their focus to police department culture, wondering why repeated violations were allowed to happen.
I don't know what's going on there at that department.
Mesa community advocate Pastor Andre Miller has concerns too.
They have a history of, a slap on the wrist, probation, and, walk a line. Then after a few years, it falls off, and then you can go back to your malfeasance or bad behaviors again.
The Mesa police chief declined multiple interview requests to discuss Sergeant Drew Young and the department's decision-making process. But the city manager and council oversee the police department, so the I-Team turned to those leaders. After declining to speak with us multiple times via email, we decided to show up here to City Council to try and speak with the city manager, but he avoided us and walked out of the meeting before it was over.
When you reach out to people who are supposed to represent me, it's horrible that they give you silence and don't give you an answer. Because not only do the news you want to know, but I live here in a community. I want to know what they think.
And we want to point out that it was whistleblowers in Mesa that brought this case to our attention. And they, along with many others, have pointed out there are a ton of really great people and police officers in Mesa, including those who brought this to us and want to see some change.
And Bianca, after last night's story, we had some people commenting that this was just locker room talk. What are police leaders saying about that?
Experts point out that this kind of talk would likely be considered harassment in other workplaces as well, especially when you look at his history. They really consider this type of behavior to be a red flag.
All right, Bianca, thanks.